Hello, welcome to this little mini episode, if you will, of this channel. And I say mini because this is a very small transmitter site. I am off the 91 freeway at our site that we call Prado Dam, and it's a fill-in booster. And a fill-in booster is when you have your radio station, say on the top of a hill, and there's a little piece of hill that comes off. It's shadowing this one area that you want to cover that's right here. So what you do is you put a fill-in booster down here to just cover this little area, and so it doesn't interfere with everything that you see from up here, but it just covers this little area. In this case, we're trying to cover this area of the 91 freeway from Green River to the toll booths on the 91 freeway. And it's shadowed from Santiago Peak. And so we have this little half-watt transmitter site here, and that's what fills it in. So why am I here today? I'm here today because our air conditioning unit on this cabinet that we have here has failed, and I need to get an air conditioning company to come out here. And with some of the changes that we've had at the church and whatnot, with semi-recent changes, the people that I've relied on in the past for helping me with my air conditioning stuff, they're no longer available. So I'm trying to find a vendor, and I think I have one that I just got before I came out here, and I haven't had a chance to call them yet. But it is a little tiny air conditioning unit, and this might be a little bit less of a job than most companies are used to. I know, I keep looking at it, it's over there just mocking me. So when I came in here and opened this up, well, let me back up first. As I was driving in to the site, I listened to the radio, and it was called silent, dead carrier. There was no audio on it at all. So I figured, well, it must be that our studio to transmitter link, or STL, had failed in some way. Confirmed that by looking at the studio side. I had a fault light on my Mosley T1 unit. So, had a feeling that was the issue on this side. Opened the door, sure enough, this guy had given up the ghost. So I need to I have a spare one that I need to bring out. I can probably come out today and try to resurrect this. So, anyways, but I need to pull this out first to make sure that I bring it back and start getting that repair process done. Yeah, all right, so let's go get tools out. Well, the station's off right now. Well, not this whole station, just this booster's off right now. I'm going to head back to the office, grab the replacement, and see if this will work, if I can get it back on the air for today, and at least resolved until I get back from vacation next week. Whew. All right, well, it's a lot cooler here in the car, so let's talk about on-channel boosters. So on-channel boosters are very, very difficult. And, I mean, they're not difficult to set up and build and, you know, technically upkeep. And in fact, sometimes they kind of get ignored. Sorry, Prado Dam. But the difficult part is in the engineering. And why I say that is, so an on-channel booster is meant to fill in certain areas. So in our case here, we want to fill in from Green River Road all the way on the 91 westbound to about the toll booths. this area has not that great of coverage from Santiago Peak, which is our main station. So we had to engineer a on-channel booster. And on-channel just means it's on the same channel that our main station is. So 107.9, channel 300, I believe it is. That is the same frequency that we're using for this booster. Now, where it gets difficult is, where do you place the transmitter for the booster? Because you can't just place it anywhere. You have to place it in a spot where you will do the least amount of interference and damage to your main signal. So if we put this station up here, right up back in that direction is Signal Peak. And that's a great spot that overlooks the entire 91 freeway. If we put this little transmitter up there, it would definitely cover this whole section of the 91 freeway that we want. But the problem is, think back about when we talked about what FM, and FM is line of sight. So if you can see it, you can transmit to it and you can receive it. Now, if we put our transmitter up there on Sierra Peak, what would happen is that we would see not just the area of the 91 that we want, we would see all kinds of other areas. And you would have this thing called multipath. Now, multipath is where you have your main signal, and then you have this other signal. And let's say you're right here in the middle. Multipath means that you are getting the same signal multiple paths. It could also be from bouncing off of a hill. So if here's the transmitter, here you are, and if it bounces off a hill and gets to you, you're getting it in two different paths. Multi-path. Pretty simple. So how do we kind of contain this on-channel booster? Because RF just goes where it wants. You know, you have an antenna and it'll just radiate outward in an omnidirectional way. Now you can use directional antennas. In this case, we're using a log periodic, I believe it is. Looks like it. A log periodic antenna. And what that is just, it's a directional signal, and it makes it go in one direction. And in this case, we are pointing it west because we are on the east side of this shadowed area. So we want to point it into the shadowed area. The other thing we can do is reduce the power to just barely enough where car radios will pick it up. But once you get past Green River Road, you start getting the main signal from Santiago Peak, and it instantly just cuts over because that signal is so much stronger. Same as going westbound on the 91, you'll get past the toll booths-ish area, and what happens is you start being able to see Santiago Peak, and that signal is so much stronger that captures your radio. So that's basically an on-channel booster. I mean, there's ways. You also have to think about synchronizing it, and we don't really do a great job of synchronizing it, even though we should. If it's perfectly synchronized, then in theory, when people cross those two zones on the east side and on the west side, when they come into the coverage area, the signal will be in phase from Santiago Peak and from Prado Dam here. So it's in phase, which means, so when you have a signal that's out of phase, so think of your signal that looks like this, the sine wave in this example. And an in-phase signal means that both signals are traveling in the same way. Now, an out-of-phase signal means that they're traveling opposite. They basically cancel each other out. Otherwise, you cancel yourself out, and you start having these weird little dead zones at the boundaries of the coverage area. So, back to why we put it down here in this little valley rather than up on the hill. And so, if you're in Los Angeles, you're going to get two signals coming at you. Depending on which one's closer, you know, what ends up happening is you interfere with yourself. And that's not good. You don't want to interfere with yourself. You really want to improve your coverage within your protected area. And that's what we're doing with this booster. Now that I have completely just confused you. All right, there's the new one, or the replacement. It's in the back seat now. Driving it back out.
With people in exactly the same space in life as we are. We're multi-generationals. God designed us to.
Prado is back on. Our booster, our fill-in booster is back on the air. I was able to swap out this guy, the Mosley 9003 T1 or whatever the model number is. And basically what it does is it takes a T1 line, which is about 1.5 megs. It's an old copper phone, high-capacity phone line, and sends data over it. And there's an encoder on the studio side, and there's the receiver here on this side. So the station's back on, the booster's back on, and I just confirmed it in the car, and that's about it. Now the next thing I need to get done here is getting the air conditioning fixed, and that's going to be a project for when I get back, or for Chad next week when I'm out. Anyways, all right, thanks for watching. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not, and until next time, we will see you then. Stay cool.